Ladies and gentlemen, I'm BurningDogFace, and I'm delighted to finally welcome you to Let's Play Clive Barker's Undying. Yeah, the game launches straight into this menu. Well, there is one EA Games logo, but it launches in a separate program before this one, and try as I might, I seem to be incapable of recording it. C'est la vie. This game came out on February 21st, 2001. So, it's one of the older games I've done in a while. And it's a first-person horror shooter. I've thought long and hard about how I was going to do this intro. Fact of the matter is, I could talk about this game for quite a while. But nobody wants to just stare at this menu while I ramble, so I'll try and keep this quick. I've mentioned a lot before, about once per horror LP, that I'm a terrific coward, and before I started doing Let's Plays, I was never able to play a horror game for more than maybe 20 minutes without getting scared and giving up. What I didn't tell you was that whenever I said that, I was thinking about Clive Barker's Undying. Static on the audio. See, my parents gave me this game as a birthday present, 1 year to the day after they gave me American McGee's Alice. But of course, as a huge wuss, I was never able to do more than scratch the surface. And since I actually beat Alice a few years ago as my very first Let's Play, this game has now been waiting longer for me to come back and... well, let's just say that I hope that after all this time, I'm finally able to play this game all the way to the credits. So, without further ado, let's play Clive Barker's Undying. Easy, medium, and nightmare. Nothing fancy here, except for this buried hand.
I'm tired of traveling, or fighting superstition and its many manifestations. Even though it was me who chose to debunk folklore and mysticism. Little did I know I'd end up being labelled as Patrick Galloway, the man with endless occult knowledge. Before I knew it, people all over the world paid me to investigate all kinds of weird things. As long as they paid me, I'd look into it. Funny thing though, the more I saw, the more I believed there are forces beyond our control. Creatures not explainable in any human terms. Things that make my skin crawl. I fled from Ireland and hung around Paris and London with no real purpose till the Great War started. I joined a special unit whose job it was to squelch the fears of the superstitious farm boys who made up the fighting ranks. The Tresanti were the biggest pains. Me commanding officer, Jeremiah Covenant, led our unit in the hunt for their camp. We were ambushed. They came streaming out of the woods, waving swords and howling like banshees. I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue. And just when I was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me. A bright green flash came from his hand, and it bowled me over as my gun went off. I woke up in a hospital bed with severe burns. They told me Jeremiah and the unit had gone on without me, but he'd given me the shaman stone to keep. I hadn't given any of this much thought until I came back here to find this letter that Jeremiah wrote me almost 6 months ago, asking me to come back to Ireland and help him out. This is not something I'm dying to do, for it may mean the death of me. He saved my life though, so I owe it to him. Just hope it's not too late.
There are no subtitles in this game, no option for that. And, sometimes the audio just seems to have, static over it. There isn't really anything I seem to be able to do about that. Again, this game is, 15 years old at this point, and I've had this disc the whole time, so maybe it's imperfect. I don't know. Oh, and, there's going to be a bunch of reading at the beginning of this game. Hopefully, it evens out, like Batman Arkham Origins, where there was a ton of reading bios right at the beginning, and then it started dishing them out more slowly. Remembrance. Each time my past fades from memory, fate has a terrible habit of reawakening me. Most often, the unpleasant name of Otto Kiesinger is the vehicle of remembrance, but not today. My old friend and commanding officer in the Great War, Jeremiah Covenant, has sent word. It has been years since I've heard from him. His letter came whilst I was away, sitting unopened for nearly 6 months. My joy at reading his name was quickly replaced by sorrow, then by fear. Jeremiah has fallen ill and requires my assistance at his estate in Ireland. I have not set foot on Irish soil since poor Gwendolyn's death, and I did not think anything could make me return. Could I have been responsible for her death? Being legally exiled from my homeland was painful, but nothing in comparison to my memories. How did she end up on the floor? How could so much blood come without a sound? How was that knife in my hand, and why was Kiesinger suddenly nowhere to be found? But Jeremiah saved my life, and I cannot deny any request he would make. The necessity of my presence is somewhat vague, as his letter at times is incoherent. He speaks of his sickness as a family illness no medicine can cure. Regardless, I will go to my friend. I have booked passage on a steamliner leaving tomorrow, arriving in 4 days' time. I hope I am not recognized by the authorities. I hope I am not too late. P. The Jelziabar Stone. I have carried this artifact ever since the day Jeremiah gave it to me following the battle with the Tersanti. It seems to throw out a shockwave of considerable force, and ever since I acquired the stone, I have noticed strange sightings and visual anomalies. However, the power of the stone has its dark side. On occasion, a beast from beyond this world has attacked me. My only explanation for its appearance is that I was using the stone's power for too long. I have not seen the beast for a while, of course. I have not seen the beast for a while. Of course, I have not needed the stone. P. Revolver. My trusty revolver. A 6-shot weapon of forged metal grace. Durable yet lightweight, my military piece has seen many a country and spilled much blood over the years. I guess they're all ending with P. Scry. A spell that allows me to see and bear past events from the geographic location in which I happen to be standing. It also casts an ethereal light on enemies in darker areas, giving me the ability to see my foes as well as find my way. I must be careful in its use, as it has no offensive power, and it seems to drain my energies for short durations. Learned men have stated that they believe that man has yet to unlock the full potential of the mind. While traveling to the Orient after the war, I met up with a local seer who told me that I was one of the chosen few, one of only a handful of individuals that he had ever met that had this ability. He called it scrying, to be able to read portions of the past. Most of the people who possess this power, he said, over the course of their lives eventually fell into disability, mind-tired from the barrage of images and sounds that could be heard from both the past and the present, the real and unreal. I know I have the ability to scry because of the subtle words I hear calling within me at times, begging me to look deeper into the past, deeper at what actually isn't even in front of me. But I am truly wondering if this is the gift I dreamed of, or a sick curse placed on me by an outside force. My objectives: the Covenant Estate. Meet with your old friend Jeremiah Covenant. So, I'm going to turn the ambient audio down. I'll turn it off for a moment. because the thunderstorm here is really loud. This is one of those games that from back in the day that expected you to, well, it expected you to go over the manual in order to fully understand the controls. There isn't really much of a tutorial here. So this game has a sort of dual wielding system. I'm kind of surprised it never caught on. At any one time, you've got a weapon in your left hand and a spell in your right. It's left-hand weapon because it's left mouse button to attack.
You're Jeremiah's old war buddy, right?
Indeed.
That's a revolver. It does what you think it does. I discovered during my testing that you apparently aren't allowed to kill innocent people. So yeah, revolver. You need to reload every 6 shots. The spell you start with is scrying, which he described there. And the best way I can think of to demonstrate scrying, or explain it rather, is to show you what it does. And I happen to know that there is a spot where you can scry right there on that lamppost. If you heard that look right there, that's related to scrying. And that glow is what he meant by lighting up his foes. So we know that at some point in the past, there was a dude just strung up there and left to bleed out. And some rats drank the blood. It could have been yesterday, it could have been 100 years ago. There's no way to tell. No context, just the images.
Won't budge.
The other main use of scrying, as far as I can tell, well, see how dark this fucking corner is? With scrying on, it lights up the area immediately around you. Man, that's dark. And hey, your mana regenerates in this game, so that's always welcome. And the other thing you start with is the Jelzabar stone. Despite the way it was described, it isn't really a wave of considerable force. It's just a shockwave that pushes living things away. I don't think it even does any damage. Honestly, I'm pretty sure the reason that it's there is to give you something... give you a way to buy a second to switch back to a real weapon if you get attacked. Because the main use of this thing is that if you look down in the corner, over the scrying logo, you see that yellow dot? That indicates the level of the spell. 1 dot, 1 level. But whenever you have the Jelzabar stone in your hand, it temporarily adds a level. So right now, this is the equivalent of level 2 scrying. I don't know that that means you can see more. I think it just means it lasts longer. I couldn't say anything about any of the other spells. Mostly because I don't remember what any of them are. But yeah, let's say hi to this guy. Oh yeah, the other thing. Oh, I guess it doesn't work after the first time. Well, the other thing is that if you happen to have the stone in your hand, any spot where you can use scrying and see something, the stone it will make the stone light up really obviously, so you know to use scrying if you don't hear "look" or "scry." The reason I keep keeping an eye on the rats is that when I was doing testing, one of them suddenly ran up and bit me.
You're Jeremiah's old war buddy, right?
Indeed.
Nice John Devlin hat. Nice big house for 1923. Creepy as fuck, though.
jammed.
You know, on second thought, let's not bail on this place. Let's go say hi to Jeremiah. What?
You thirsty? I've got a couple of stouts in the way.
Probably best not to get drunk right before the job, huh?
I'm Patrick Galloway, a friend of Jeremiah's. Sorry it took me so long to get here. His letter said it was most urgent.
Jeremiah was beginning to think that the letter never arrived in your hands. He's been quite anxious to see you. We've all been quite worried. Jeremiah's now bedridden. Follow me and I'll show you to his living quarters. I apologize for the look of the house, but there's only a skeleton crew of servants now. Jeremiah let go of everyone else, and the house is much too large for us to clean. Because we've lost electricity to most parts of the house, we can only maintain the living quarters. This family's had so much tragedy. I hope you can help him.
I don't think the static is a result of the disc being dirty, because it's not always on the same lines.
Stuck.
But keep in mind, even though my computer is really old at this point, it's still much newer than this game. So, you know, you make do. Hey. It's gonna be one of those days. Oh. Can't move. Well, that was unpleasant. Alright, I knew that one was coming. I had to figure this one out by faffing around. Only vaguely remember this. That's not just a health pickup. You have to carry that around and use it when you want it. You scroll between them with the square brackets and hit enter to use them. I don't know why bullet ammo is here. If I had to guess, I'd say that, well, maybe it's,
Won't budge. Stuck.
maybe I could have some alternate ammo, like silver bullets or something.
Patrick, you made it.
At your service, Jeremiah. Sorry for the delay, but I've been abroad. What happened to you?
It seems I've come under the watchful eye of the Reaper, my friend. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Apparently too long.
Patrick, I came back from the war only to find my entire estate in disarray. My brother Aaron disappeared first, and then my sister Bethany. My declining health is a result of an old war wound, and unfortunately the symptoms are irreversible. I didn't summon you here to watch me die. I need your help.
Anything I can do. Just name it.
Strange events began happening around the manor. After thinning out my staff, they ransacked my estate, taking whatever they could carry. The rest of the help was quick to follow, as they feared rumors of my family's curse. I can't help but think it's more than a coincidence that strange happenings have increased since I've been back from the war. I want to get to the bottom of this, but I'm just too weak to investigate it myself. I'm relying on you to step in for me.
Of course, Jeremiah. The only reason I risk coming back here is to assist you however I can.
My thanks to you, Patrick.
What the hell is that?
Sounds like it came from downstairs.
I'll check it out. Lock the door behind me.
Jeremiah's conversation. I've arrived in time. Apparently just in time. Completely bedridden, Jeremiah is a shadow of his old self, appearing many pounds and a few shades lighter. His explanation for calling to me is still unclear. He speaks of strange happenings around the estate, problems that he is unable to rectify in his weakened state, and has requested that I investigate. I, of course, agreed. Before I could ponder where to begin my explanation, the servant who showed me to Jeremiah's room screamed from downstairs. Often, where to begin is the most difficult step. Investigate the noise downstairs.
Stuck.
Just checking.
Won't budge.
Gotten in the habit of searching for goodies lately. Keep an eye out for supernatural bullshit with this thing. Oh, that's a great noise. Hey. So just so we're clear, I'm not scrying right now. That's actually happening. It's a really bright window considering it's a raging storm outside. I have to admit it. This game really did scare the shit out of me, in 2001. But again, I was 16 in 2001. And believe it or not, this was considered state-of-the-art graphics at the time.
Budge.
So I'm kind of wondering, I'm kind of worried, to be honest, that after all this time, like I haven't tried to play it in a number of years, but I'm kind of worried that after all this time, the graphics will have aged so poorly that it just won't be scary anymore.
Won't budge.
Well, there's the timer. I know we didn't really accomplish much in this first episode, but there's a lot that had to be said. Well, in that case, I'm BurningDogFace, and this has been the premiere episode of Let's Play Clive Barker's Undying. I'll see you next time when we investigate those ominous noises. Later!